your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from the Double T Sports Network.
Apparently, slashing tires on Valentine's Day isn't just for disgruntled lovers. In today's episode, we dive into Texas Tech's win over top-ranked Arizona, look at the games in the week ahead, talk about Tech's new football coaches on the defensive staff, and answer an assembly of questions from you, the audience. Ask Level podcast, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
This is Mike Hebert, the proud owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. We've been serving West Texas for all of your residential and commercial construction needs for the past 9 years. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. Together, we are one serving you.
Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. Do you like that one?
were you trying that was totally trying to throw me a curveball? And
yes, it was. It was.
I gotta tell you, that was really well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was well done.
Well, Level joins us from Arizona at the time we record this podcast, as you get to stay over after the awesome win in Tucson on Saturday night.
I feel like I've been here so long that I'll be able to register to vote here soon in this lovely state. No, yeah, we this is the similar trip that what Texas Tech did to Utah, the state of Utah last year. It just so happened that one was very early in your conference schedule in early January. Yeah, leave on a Friday to go play Utah on a Saturday, and then you don't play BYU until Tuesday night. You just kind of go from Salt Lake City to Provo and all that stuff. Well, this is the same thing. They're trying to give everybody one of these a year, and it's funny. Some of those teams, like the Arizona schools, they may come to Texas and do the equivalent. Yeah, but you can go do the West Virginia Cincinnati swing, which I think the women's program did. But yeah, we're here, man, and all the bus tires are good to go. Yeah, good to go. And you're right. Even a jilted Valentine's Day, being on the wrong side of that with the gal or the guy or whatever. I guess it's similar to losing a home basketball game, and you make. I have feelings. I must express them. And I'll do so by videoing myself. I mean, whoever did that or taped it or however that happened, I would have been kind of concerned for my safety, because I think there's thousands of pounds of pressure in those massive tires. I would have been worried that something wouldn't, I don't know, but maybe that's what alcohol will do for you, and you just no worse for the wear. Hey man, this is what I think about your stupid Texas Tech basketball team. I don't know, but
liquid confidence, as you like to call it.
Memories.
Yeah. So one of our questions was from Jill and asked, did the tires on the bus actually get cut? I mean, there's video out there.
I believe that to be accurate. This wasn't, this wasn't AI or anything like that. I think maybe it was a tire, but I can't speak to specifics. Only reason I knew was because I was putting my bag on the bus, and our bus driver, John, who's awesome.
Yeah.
He there was a bunch of people putting bags on stuff and everything, and not everybody was there yet on Sunday morning. And he was like, kind of looked frantic, and he's like, I gotta go to the tire store. Somebody slashed their tire and urinated on it and spit on it. And I was like, okay. So then everybody's kind of like, what? And I couldn't visibly see a tire flat. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, so then I go back in the hotel, and like 10 minutes later, I had more than one person send me, hey, dude, is this real? And I'm like, well, I think it appears to be. Because so yeah, there you go. But hey man, sports, right? I say it all the time, and this is the epitome. I mean, slashing a and I've heard people say, well, you have a double T on the bus. Well, this was a unique situation in that because it's drivable
Sure.
from Lubbock, and then we were going to be here for 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it is. That they just was it was good to do business with your local
Hmm.
company and have a familiar face. And John is the best at driving, and so you had one of your buses, so that's why it was just like a
Yeah.
unique setup. So anyway, not to spend too much time on Busgate, but yeah, that's I've since moved on. These are,
Yes.
in fact, this is the first time publicly that I've commented on it. Is this right here?
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. So,
So
well, you've moved on, as has the team, who plays a pair of games this week, which we'll get into those. But want to talk about the game against Arizona. I think it's pretty well documented that Texas Tech has probably the best 3 wins as far as resume wins of any team in the country at this point. And you go on the road and beat a number one in their house. I think Texas Tech is viewed as a team that no one wants to face in March because you have the ability to beat anybody.
yeah, and that it's frustrating because that UCF loss really
Yeah.
stings even more so now. Because and so does the Kansas game that you
Yep.
almost had.
Right.
If one of those two games goes differently, we're probably having a bit of a different conversation, even compared to what you asked me.
Sure.
But you can beat anybody. There's just no doubt. As long as you have the head coach that you have, the offensive coach that you have, and the point guard that you have, and the post player that you have, and what may be, how's this for a mouthful? I guess I just got to thinking about it in my many hours of downtime here in Arizona. And I almost feel like at this point that Donovan Atwell has maybe eclipsed what Chance McMillan brought to your team a year ago. They're different players, but
Mm.
I'm not so sure that he's not a better I mean, he is as good at what he does as anybody in the country. I think so is Christian and so is JT. Again, at what they're asked to do,
Sure.
hey, knock down threes, play defense. I mean, Jaden Bradley is the floor leader
Yeah.
for arguably was the top team in the country, and Donovan holds him to 4-14 in his building in front of a sold out crowd. I just think that needs to be called out a bit more. And but yeah, you can certainly beat anybody in the country. And now you're starting to get a bit deeper. Hello, Leon Horner. Shouts out to
No
my man
doubt.
Lee. Yeah, played. And you know what's funny? He played pretty big minutes and scored 4 points at MSG when you beat
Yep.
Duke.
Yep. Had to.
He plays big minutes, scores 5 points when you beat Arizona. You know, he's not perfect, but he has been able to answer the bell. And typically, role players are one, or the your role guys is the best way to say it, I guess. But they play better when you're at home, and yet this
Mhm.
kid, he's figured out a way to do it on the road. So again, you're starting to get a bit deeper. And now all of a sudden, you look up with Iowa State beating Houston. You're just one game out of first place in the Big 12 conference.
Pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
and an injury, a key injury to a BYU stud and Richie Saunders.
Mhm.
Um, so, and I think Houston, they play Arizona at home on Saturday. Woo.
What a
And
game.
they go to Allen Fieldhouse on Monday and play Kansas. So if they're going to get got, you need them to get got one out of those two times at least, and then you gotta not lose. And if so,
Yeah.
now granted, you got to go to Ames, Iowa.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still a massive uphill climb for Texas Tech, but
sure. But it's
there's
hey,
there's a glimmer of hope that wasn't there a week ago.
yes, because of what you did in Tucson. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a game. It's one of the best games I have seen.
It's pretty
Okay,
awesome.
certainly conference games. Just such a high level
Mhm.
matchup. I mean, God, and but that was a game that was going to basically eliminate you from any sort of league title conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
totally remove your yeah, you're just playing for seeding. To if you win it, we're having these conversations. We're like, you have a legit shot. You still need a little help, and after that game, you needed a lot of help, and you don't need as much now because of
Right.
what Iowa State did.
Yeah,
So,
you almost need Houston to split those games,
well,
where they
yeah.
beat Arizona and lose to Kansas, type of thing, where it would, so that way Arizona's losing another game too. But
Here's what you really need. Um, if you're wishing for stuff, because I have an alternate reason, you
okay,
know, you really need Houston to lose these next two.
hmm,
Not gonna happen. I
right,
just don't. I don't think it's gonna happen.
sure,
And I would especially like, but if they were gonna split it, you want Arizona to beat Houston, and then you want Houston to beat Kansas. And here's why. Right now, it looks like, because if you say you are a one game out or the outside looking in of a league title race, this is also about trying to get to Oklahoma City, Woodman, in
yeah,
the first rounds of the tournament. And right now, it is Houston and Kansas that kind of there's the thought that they would be the two teams that it could be sent. Iowa State maybe, but there's also a St. Louis opening round that maybe that's more
right.
proximity. I'd have to look up the mileage, but still.
It's pretty close. Yeah,
So you need Houston or Kansas to kind of falter here, so it can open up a spot to OKC, because I think that you would have a ton of fans in Oklahoma City, similar to Tulsa.
sure.
So otherwise, my guess would be you're probably going to San Diego.
Would
That's
you
the
rather,
next.
if you
Although
had?
that doesn't San Diego doesn't suck either.
No, it does not. If you had the pick, though, are you wanting, if it's either or, and I'm not saying it will be, you want Oklahoma City in that first two rounds, or would you rather secure Houston, the South region, in the second weekend?
I'd rather have Oklahoma City.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the most important thing, because you may never get to Houston. I
true.
can't worry about I can't worry about down the line if I can't even get there. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
um because by that time you're going to be playing really good teams and this and that, but it's the first couple of rounds are usually the trickiest anyways. So,
true.
yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
these are champagne problems.
they absolutely are,
Or,
and
or, or you could be like Kansas State, worried about a lawsuit.
what a mess there. We got a question kind of along those lines for that. We'll get to that in a moment. Here's a question. You may have just answered this a little bit ago. Ted asks, who is Tech basketball's most important player not named Toppin or Anderson to you right now?
Donnie.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, I think
was
Donnie.
thinking.
Yeah, and I think JT's the best player on your
Mhm.
team. Christian Anderson is the most important. Okay,
Okay.
so those are different. Those are very different. Like, I
Yeah.
think you could play. I mean, look at what. And it's just funny because you can use this example against the University of Houston, but you still pulled it off last year at Houston without JT. You didn't pull it off against Houston without Christian. You had chances, but I just think Christian is so involved in everything you're doing. But yeah, Donovan has just become. I mean, i- he's not there yet, but you need to talk about this threesome and this trio and
Mhm.
these triplets. It's not just this duo, because Donnie's just been, and he's such a good kid. And he's been just, there's no drama. He produces every single night. His defense has just gotten better, and he's going against some of the most elite players in the country.
Right.
Check out the mock drafts if
Yeah.
you don't believe what I'm saying. And it was clear that Arizona was like, okay, yeah, we're not giving you any clean looks, but you held him down for a while, then boom, and then it was bang bang, and we got a little 3-point activity there at the end of regulation and in overtime, and All is and the rest is history. And then there's frustrated Arizona Wildcat fans that have knives in their pockets.
Apparently so.
Yeah,
Apparently so. Do you think Lance Leipold shipped the knife over, or no? That's different conversation. Got another question, Level. This one comes from Jackson. It says, Level, do you think the Big 12 is cannibalizing itself so much that there won't be a 1 seed out of the conference this year?
Well, okay, it is certainly possible. I don't know if I envision that. However, if that is the way it plays out, I bet you have at least 3 twos.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, like you're not. I mean, shouts to the Big Ten, right? But you're not taking a backseat to anybody here. So, what you're seeing, what you saw on Big Monday, what you saw Saturday afternoon in Tucson, these are just massive heavyweight fights, man. And I hate it for BYU because I think BYU was trying to get into that category, but right now you're left with five programs, and Texas Tech may be considered fifth in that deal. Although you've got wins over, it's just you've got a few more other losses than some of those teams. But your schedule. Here's what we need to say too. That may get cleaned up a bit. Your schedule, it was really front loaded when you look at the way this is playing out. But you've got 3 games staring you in the face that you should win, and it's a bit tricky when you go into Tucson, and it's like, I love it. It's us against everybody here, and nobody's giving us a shot. That's one thing. Well, now everybody, it's like, okay, how bad are they going to beat this team? How bad are they going to beat that team? You've got an Arizona State game tonight, which I don't think there'll be too many people there. It's late, which I don't understand why. Like, I was sitting there in my hotel room and I'm watching the end of this Iowa State Houston game, and I'm like, dang, our game will be starting at this point right now, which is tonight. Goodness. But then, then a Kansas State team with an interim head coach coming in this weekend. And then you've got a 6:00 tip next Tuesday, which is tricky on a weeknight.
Sure it is.
So, but these are, I don't know if you'll have any kind of letdown, but the possibilities are certainly there.
This question, another one, comes from Ray in Phoenix, so maybe you'll see Level at the game tonight. Any word on Toppin's wrist?
I think he's fine. He wasn't on the injury report or the availability report at all. He's fine, and I don't think it was his wrist. I think it was a jammed finger on his non-shooting hand.
Okay.
So
there you go.
I mean, it happened right in front of us, and I went back and heard what they were saying on TV. Dan Schulman was like, "Yeah, he keeps flexing his wrist." I think it was
finger.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yep. Good. Yeah. I would be shocked if anything went down there, but we've had surprise scratches before, so hopefully, knocking on wood, none of that happens. Level, as you and I. Oh, there is one more question I want to get to before we get to the preview of the games. This one comes from Mark. He's got a couple questions today, but we'll start with this one. Level, what's the most exciting call you've been a part of this year, football or basketball? Could you share a few behind the scenes stories with it?
Well, okay. What's the most exciting call from what now? What was
for football and basketball, football or basketball this year? So the 25-26 athletic year, I guess. You've got a lot to pick from this.
Well, I mean, I probably will never forget literally standing, in the post game in Arlington after you win a Big 12 championship, which I guess at some points I was, I'm not exactly young anymore. I'm not old, but I'm not young. I've been doing this a while, and I would have thought that I could have done this for many, many more years and never seen one of those.
Yeah.
Just the way that, your program had been, and it was just, yeah. And so when I was standing down there, in the middle of the confetti machine, spitting out confetti where I can't even see. I should have had my phone out and filming it. There's probably
Yeah.
other videos of that. That was kind of surreal,
Yeah.
and Debbie McGuire with tears in her eyes running over to me to give me a hug. I mean, this is a people business, man. You're in it because of the people. And obviously we know who we want to win and everything like that, but because and you're Woodman, you're similar, but like we're around these people in many cases at their highest of highs and their lowest of lows. So there's not a lot of middle ground, but
Sure.
it's been a lot more highs lately, and that's been fun because I certainly have been a part of.
No doubt.
I mean, like I was part of a conversation the other day, and somebody asked me. It's like the Kansas State, they're looking for a new basketball coach, right? And there's a list out there that I think Jeff Goodman, he got some input of the Big 12 basketball coaches, and it was like ranking the basketball jobs on the
Yeah.
best ones to the worst ones. And
I think
Tech
he had
was
anonymous
third.
coaches. Yeah. Involved.
Tech was third,
Mhm.
okay, in the Big 12 out of 16. And there was a time where I would have told you in, say, 2010, 11, 12-ish,
Mhm.
when you'd made the decision to move on from Pat and you were trying to hire a head coach and they couldn't, that you had arguably one of the worst Power 5 jobs in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, times have changed. As far as memories though go, that was one from Arlington, but like this past year, I mean, the well, some of this stuff, it's like I need more time to pass before I say anything. So you know what? Ask me that question like, yeah, I need like, what's the saying about like if there's once a period of time goes, then I'm like I can't be. What's
The
the
statute of
legal term?
limitations.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Sorry, I couldn't come up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some of that to go. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's we're lucky. It's hard. I spend a lot of time away from my wife and my senior son who's about to enroll at Tech, and
Mhm.
we spend a lot of time away, and I don't have much of a routine. It's hard to have normalcy at home this time of year because it's up down up down. You're just gone all the time, and I'm about to get into the heavy part, but it's especially fun when you're winning, and so very fortunate that it's gone well lately. So
No doubt. A couple more questions before we move on. Sonia asked, what can be done about the refs not calling games fairly? From Sonia on Twitter.
well, there's going to be missed calls.
Mhm.
I think the two sports that I work with are two of the hardest sports to officiate. Some of it's subjective. You could call holding and pass interference on every play if you really wanted to. Okay. You can call. I mean, some of the physicality in Big 12 is just unmatched. It is people just have no concept unless you're just looking at it up close. Um, what this looks like. So um and yet I think that for the most part these guys do a really good job. The Saturday games are the tricky one though. That's the problem. You typically are going to get good officials on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. Saturday though is where the a lot of times the biggest games are played, and that's when the officials get split apart because they can't be everywhere. So that's where it's, and I mean that's what you're asking about. But I thought it was officiated somewhat fairly. I mean, I think they let them play is kind of was generally what I would say. And for watching some of the TV stuff, Grant was riding them hard. He was
Mhm.
quite peeved. I just think that's his MO in a game like that. He's going to squeeze everything he can out of everybody, and he's gonna be kind of a pest to the officials on everything, because that's just sometimes, unfortunately, that's what it takes.
Yeah. I mean,
So
we know there's a slant. We see it in Lubbock at times. There's a slant towards the home teams in good environments in the Big 12. It's the truth. you just want to, if you're the road team, you want to minimize that slant as much as possible. And I think that's why Coach McCasland rises the officials the way he does. One more for Big 12. This one comes from Sean. Level, who's the next Big 12 basketball head coach to get fired after Drum Tang did this week?
Wes Miller. Yeah, there's probably a chance that he could keep his job, but I think that's unlikely. I think and I mean, I guess if the wheels just UCF, they were unbelievable story, and then they beat you, and they're like 17-4, and they haven't won a game since.
Yeah.
So I guess if the wheels were to just absolutely come off them, maybe they would entertain it. Although after starting out 17-4, I don't know. But yeah, I think Wes Miller is probably the easy answer there. But
coach you're facing tonight could be on the hot seat.
That's a great point. Yeah, Bobby. Those are the two. Yeah, sorry, I'm hearing it. See, it's
No, there's 16 coaches to keep up with in the league.
My brain is fried from this Arizona sun. That's what that one stared me in the face. Because it's going to be either Bobby Hurley or Wes Miller. Yeah,
yeah,
those two I think are pretty much a given. But I will say Wes Miller, he has a chance to play his way out a little bit. There's some opportunities here, including one in Lubbock next week.
True.
He's got a pro on his team and Baba Miller. And so, but they're just kind of I don't know. They almost dropped one to Utah at home on Sunday. It's weird because it was hard to kind of wind down after that game Saturday night, and then I wake up and I'm all thrown off with the time change. Right, it's just 1 hour, but still, it just doesn't work with my head right. You know that from trying to coordinate a time to do this.
Oh, I
know. From a few days ago, I'm like, okay, let me think again. It for whatever reason, time change just kind of screws with my brain. But it really threw me off when on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. it's like Cincinnati and who are they playing? Oh yeah, Utah. They're playing basketball, and it's like 10 a.m. on a Sunday. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, what are we doing? And it was we hadn't even pulled out of Tucson yet to head to Tempe, and that game was already over. It was crazy. So but Bobby Hurley will probably get got.
So let's go there next. You got two games this week. Depending when you're listening to this, you may have already played the Arizona State game, but it's a late night tip on Tuesday night, and then you've got Kansas State later in the week. These are obvious ones, Level, even a road Big 12 game. These are obvious ones that Texas Tech has to get wins to stay where you want to be.
Oh yeah. You can't. It would be a really brutal scenario if you go pull it off at Arizona and then you get upset by Arizona State. And Arizona State's in this unique situation where they played a week ago today.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Oklahoma State here, and then they had the weekend off. And I got to tell you, trying to corral a basketball team and giving them time off in this lovely city right here on Mill Avenue, you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice. So I don't know what to expect from them tonight. I think they're built very similarly to UCF, and that there's like a collection of talented players that kind of have some baggage, and and it's been inconsistent. But they've got a really good point guard in Mo Odom that I think he's one of the top scorers and assist guys in the league. 17 and 6, I think, is what he's averaging. But after that, it's kind of a grab bag. So I just don't know. But this game's all about Texas Tech, and then who the heck knows when it comes to Saturday versus Kansas State. But they've got PJ Haggerty and then an interim head coach, and so who knows? But that's the last Saturday home game that you'll have. So I would guess that you'll put quite a few folks in there, but go figure. Kansas State causes their head coach to basically get himself fired by talking about how embarrassed he is and how these guys are going to wear the uniform. Takes the name off the back of their jersey, lets them be in charge of the scouting report. And then they hang with Houston by like 14 in the Fertitta Center. I'm like, go figure. Yeah, sports, right?
Sports, very
Yeah.
much so. But so Arizona State, Kansas State, two very winnable games. For nothing here, Level, you were a bigger underdog at Arizona than you are a favorite at Arizona State, for whatever it's worth. 9.5 point underdog when you entered the game at Arizona, 8.5 or 9 point favorite at Arizona State. So it's still a road game in the Big 12. So you can't take anything for granted, but Red Raiders should be the better team, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and you were supposed to be the better team last year. Remember, okay, you came
Yes.
here and you did win, but remember the game in Lubbock?
Well, the overtime or double overtime, it was scored in the
Double,
hundreds. Yeah, it was,
double overtime,
and they
and
could not miss a shot that night. Arizona
yeah,
State.
they were more talented than they are right now. I think they even had one of those players on that team that had got he got kicked off like a week or two later because when we came
Yes.
back out to Tempe,
Yep.
he was not on it, and he may have been involved in some of that gambling stuff. I can't remember. I
Mhm.
don't remember, um, but yeah, they were. So you just never know, man. You never know. And Bobby Hurley's been complaining about how their atmosphere isn't great, and there's just
Right.
been some commentary, whatever. I think he's one of the greatest players that's ever played college basketball, first of all. But this has just kind of been a weird dynamic, is it's
Sure.
because I don't think their NIL situation is great. Um,
I mean, Dillingham's out there begging for money too. Like it's not
that's what
just Hurley.
that's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And this is kind of like the TCU problem, is that there's so much to do in this city.
Hmm.
It's probably hard to get everybody focused on what all's going on when it comes to the college thing. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. One before we shut this one down, Level, we got one football question. Since you and I last talked, you've hired a couple of coaches out of the NFL to replace Darnell Fitch and CJ Ayu. And John asked, what can you tell us about the new D line and outside linebackers coaches? Are they a good fit, even though there's not much college experience?
Well, so I think they cast a wide net, because you're basically, the question is how do they end up with these guys, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
do they fit, even though there's not much
Yeah.
college?
Well, that's up to. Here's the thing: they fit because they're about to coach NFL players,
Yeah,
and that's the whole point.
sure.
That's the entire point of it all. Um, and I think this is a Shield, Joey Blanche kind of decision. Probably Antonio Huffman. There's I don't know who all gets involved, but I know that several of those guys, is culture wise, is it but that's what Adam Trick and Trey White and AJ Holmes and Mateen Igbarogba, Bryce Butler, Jalen Brewster,
Yeah,
LaDamian Guyton. Th- they all have thoughts and ideas about playing at the next level. Well,
sure.
how about we bring guys in here that can help you do just that? So
Yeah.
that's the pitch. And I think you had Jacquez Smith. He is somebody that obviously I think he's the one that's from Dallas, South Oak
Hmm.
Cliff. I think he spent some time at the University of Texas, if memory serves.
I believe you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was kind of in this weird limbo with their staff in Atlanta, which the whole staff was, and it was just kind of like, what direction is this thing going? And I think he interviewed for this job, and I think that when they offered it to him, he was like, okay, screw limbo, this is where I'm going. I'm going to jump on it. Like in that, I think didn't he have two rookies last year that like combined for like 16,
Hmm.
17, 18 sacks or something?
Yeah.
And then Amar J. Albury, he was somebody that who his high school quarterback was?
I do not.
Teddy Bridgewater. So
Oh,
he's just kind of been
okay.
heavily involved at a high level from since his high school playing days. But he was an assistant D line coach up there. I think the way he views this is, let me go coach these pros, and develop some of these guys into pros.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I come back to the league, I won't be assistant D-line coach. I'll be just D-line coach.
Right.
I'll have my own room. So that kind of thing. So I think that's and I just think there was some connections that led you to interview. And again, there was many other candidates. There was a Big Ten assistant coach that ended up with a hefty raise because of Texas Tech's interest.
Mm-hmm.
That never made it public, but I mean he was heavily in. But I think you ended up with who you wanted, and I think you feel good about it, and away we go, man.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this. I guess you are at the point now where Kenny Perry is the only one of your main assistants that was on that charter staff with Joey McGuire now, right? I don't think you have. Oh, no. Cochran's still here too.
Yeah, Josh Cochran
and Perry.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah, you're right, because Clay McGuire came in late, Garrett McGuire came in late.
So now you've had some turnover, some for good reason, some for not. So you've now you got a couple of coaches left from that first staff.
Yeah, and obviously, Darcel wasn't a part of the first year, but he was a part of the second year, and then obviously this third year he was really a part of it. But anyway, I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's a good point.
But so all right. Level, I expect 2 wins out of you this week, and we'll reconvene next week and talk some more hoops, some more football, whatever we get into.
Well, I expect a lot from you too, and you often disappoint me. So I don't get mad; I just get disappointed.
Okay, Dad.
I had some what I thought was a buddy kind of have a I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Oh yeah,
it was actually pretty serious, like interaction. I was like, dude, what is your problem? So I don't know if we're friends anymore. But that's the way he was acting toward me. I was like, okay, I'm too old for this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, exactly. It was like whatever. You can't win them all, man. I guess so. Why try? I don't know.
Well, I expect you to try to get us 2 wins at least.
Okay, there you go.
Win all of them this week.
Okay, spin the wheel, man. Yeah,
there we go.
And you're gonna have a pretty good shot to do that when you've got Christian and JT and Donnie. Got
to get the third musketeer in there.
And now Leon.
Yeah,
Shouts to Leon Horner.
I want more Leon Horner minutes. I'm not in charge of that, but I enjoy it when he's on the floor for sure.
And it's his job tonight not to cause you to go, okay, never mind. He's got to build off of what he did.
For sure.
Yep. Yeah, he's got to build off of what he did and like be locked in. Because see, it's going to be very difficult. It's much easier, as crazy as it sounds, to be focused when there's just no empty seats and they're right on top of you and you're yelling. Because it's easy just to walk in there. Because I think you're going to walk in there tonight and there's going to be 2,000 or 3,000 people in a giant building, and it's going to be flat, and it's a BY, bring your own energy game,
Yeah.
So, and those are different dynamics, and sometimes it does not benefit the road team. It just doesn't. So,
Yep. Well, Level, enjoy the late night tip and get home to us safely. We'll talk to you later in the week. Happy late Valentine's Day, too.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. See you, dude.
Yes, sir. That's Chris Level. I'm Chois Woodman. It's been the Ask Level podcast powered by the Double T Sports Network.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by the Double T Sports Network. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more great content from all of our shows on the Double T Sports Network.